non-district residents on a regular season or annual?
The majority of our fees come in from residents. In our larger programs, we could probably count the number of non-residents that are in them on two hands. What we're hoping is we currently run our programs at the minimums, plus a little bit. We're hoping that we can run all those programs much closer to the maximums, or even exceed our maximum and be able to add new programming in. Residents still will have the first opportunity to register because they are our priority. This would just give us the opportunity to market and be more competitive in our non-resident pricing to hopefully pull them into our programs, which we feel are quality programs.
Any other discussions? Hearing none, roll call please.
Stein?
Yay.
Ludeman?
Yes.
Newton?
Yes.
Solosky?
Yes.
Hurtado?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item K, seeking a motion to approve the policy for the use of the Plainfield Park District on athletic fields. Do I have a motion?
Make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Discussion.
What exactly changed here? I was not clear by reading the
Plainfield Area Athletic Club.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. The Athletic Advisory Council, which was formed a long time ago, I'd say early 2000s, is no longer functioning. So that needed to be updated. That was the main reason for this.
Since the policy was framed to the board to go down to approve.
Any other discussions? Hearing none, roll call please.
Stein?
Yay.
Ludeman?
Yes.
Newton?
Yes.
Solosky?
Yes.
Hurtado?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item L, do we have a motion to approve employees' health insurance? Do I have a motion? Do I have a second? Second for
I'll
health.
second.
Discussions?
I have a question. I knew you did. With the, we're gonna go out to look for other carriers potentially because of the increase. And I was just curious, because at the end it says, the executive director will make all of the final decision regarding the insurance due to a lack of a December meeting. Normally, we would vote on all that. So I was just curious.
If you want, we can put it on for December. I was trying to avoid December meeting, but if you like, we can do that.
Well, what do you want to vote on? Because normally that's something we would vote on.
Yeah, what we're trying to do is, right now we have, Maureen, can you help me? All the health insurance employees?
Who are careers?
Yeah.
Shields.
And we have an increase on premiums, and what we're trying to do is see where we get a better quote, trying to reduce the premium. But basically, the coverage is going to be the same, right?
We're looking at our options.
We're looking at our options, and
But pretty much is to keep it the same, just to see where we can save some money.
whether the board wants to vote on it or not, I don't believe it's a legal requirement for the board to vote on it. If we can, I'd like to reach out to the board with the different proposals individually, if we can avoid December meeting, and then get consensus through communication through the executive director. And I'd be happy to put those memos out as a public document as well. That way we don't have to come to the board meeting to vote on one item.
I'm totally opposed to doing business outside the meeting, so I'm in favor of that.
Okay, so you are proposing to do that on December?
Absolutely.
All right, fine. Any other discussions?
Actually, I have no problems with that, regards to decision-making, regards to common sense is a factor, regards to get the best name. Follow policy at best cost, and anybody on board to deal with insurance or getting good deals would understand that quality for us.
So what's the direction from the board? Commissioner Newton wants to have a December meeting to actually vote on this. Legally, my opinion is that we do not actually have to vote on this as a board. You can give me direction if you want that.
Yeah, but I think he just mentioned that he wants to do it on the December meeting. I think it's,
And I agree.
yeah, so, yeah, what we want to do is, okay, let's, yeah, any other discussions? No, roll call please.
We want to table.
Good table.
We can take a roll call, or you want to table? You guys want to table?
The motion was to approve,
To
right?
approve, right.
Approve, so you
So we can spend it now, I mean, we can,
She can withdraw your motion, withdraw your second, you can ask the table.
all right.
Well, by tabling it, can they still do their research?
Oh, yeah,
You
well,
can direct them to do
Yeah.
that, sure.
Yes.
Well, how does that affect that regards to existing policy that's, we're looking for a new insurance policy or comparison policies and, with this delay, how is that gonna affect,
oh,
you
we have
know,
a.
the gap
We want to do a
between
12
one policy
renewal,
to the
so
next policy?
what's gonna happen is if we don't have this, if you don't authorize staff to execute this before December, we're gonna be forced to do a January renewal versus a December renewal, which should, most likely, shall maybe increase the cost of the insurance renewal. We should get a better rate if this is done before December 1st.
That's what you want
Is
to
that
do.
correct?
That, I'd like to do a 12/1 renewal, which isn't gonna be possible if we have to wait for a December meeting to do. It should save the park district money if the board is, or if you wanna have another public meeting, a special meeting before December 1st, if we can get this together for you. I mean, we can do that if this has to be done in the eye of the public, if that's the board's decision. This can be done legally, administratively, I can handle it, but that's up to the board.
Well, like I said, for saving taxpayers dollars and so forth, which is hard to come by, in regards to that dollars without where meetings are going, and saving bucks on,
My
across the
office,
board.
my office is open, and it's common practice in local government for commissioners to communicate with their administrator, city manager, executive director, or what have you.
I think and trust their executive director.
So the motion
We
is.
can't.
No, I'm asking for the one.
Oh, okay, what you're saying.
I'm waiting for,
Because typically we would do this in a public meeting, this is just a different way of doing things, that's why I'm kind of.
You can certainly give them the authority, you can give the executive director the authority to do it, yes. In the past, I think it's been the policy that, or it's been the action of the board to approve it.
And we could call a special meeting later in November. Do you think you'd have all your numbers together?
We could check with our broker. One of the reasons that we were looking at this first renewal is the Affordable Care Act has some provisions in it. By doing an early renewal, we would have to avoid implementing that January 1st. So that's one of the things that we can do to help the district. That's why we're looking as well as a December 1st renewal. So, but we can check with our broker and find out when we can get those rates and everything, when they're going to be ready.
I still don't get how this helps the district or saves money.
Excuse me, this section is from the board, it's not the public section.
I'm leaning then towards maybe a special meeting later in the month, just so we can all be together and vote on this, so that you can still make your December deadline. That's my, rest of
Like I said, I'd rather do this in open session. I think it's the board's responsibility to approve something like this and be accountable.
So you would consider a
I would
special meeting?
consider a special meeting if that's what it
Sounds
takes, yeah.
Commissioner Salaski?
you.
All right. All right, why don't we table this, so, sorry, Commissioner Salaski.
No, that's no problem, he likes it,
Are you okay with this special meeting?
table this, and,
Yeah, I'm not.
continue on discussing it.
Sure, all right, so what we need is for you to withdraw your motion,
Make a motion to withdraw.
and you say,
Make a motion to withdraw my second.
all right, so now I'm looking for a motion to table, table, the employee health insurance renewal.
Make a motion to table.
All right, second, all right, roll call, please.
Stennis?
Okay.
Lumen?
Yes.
Newton?
Yes.
Solosky?
Yes.
Hurtado?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item M, we have a motion to approve employee life insurance. Do we have a motion?
Make that motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Discussions.
I'll bring up on this in regards to possibly looking at, I guess just two insurance, life insurance situations out there here for our district.
As far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, Maureen, through the IMRF, the employees get a death benefit of 4 years salary, is that correct?
It's actually a death benefit of $3,000. And then depending on their status, if they're vested, there's different levels of benefits payable to them, to their beneficiaries upon their death. We have a tier 1 and a tier 2, so depending on what level of vesting they are at, and if they're tier 1 and tier 2, the benefits are different.
Okay, sound wrong, all right. Sound wrong. Anyways, any other discussions? All right, hearing none, roll call please.
Stein,
Yay.
Newman,
Yes.
Newton,
Yes?
Solosky, yes, Hurtado,
Yes.
motion carries.
Letter N, do I have a motion to approve resolution 2013-15? It's a resolution authorizing and amend the Park District sexual and other harassment policy. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Discussions. Hearing none, roll call please.
Stein,
Yay.
Newman, Newton,
Yes?
Solosky, yes, Hurtado,
Yes.
motion carries.
And O, to have a motion to approve resolution 2013-16, is a resolution authorizing the amendment to the Park District Employee Handbook in relation to disability accommodations. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I was
She made the motion.
Okay, your turn.
I make a motion.
Do I have a second? Discussion. Hearing none, roll call please.
Stein,
Yay.
Newman, yes, Newton,
Yes.
Solosky, yes, Hurtado,
Yes.
motion carries.
Item B, do I have a motion to approve the workers' compensation insurance renewal? Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Discussions.
Two questions. This county's risk management trust, it says if the board elects to change plans, is that, I'm sorry, what was the question? I'm sorry, the public risk fund requires us to notify them by October 1st, otherwise we pay a 10% penalty to switch, is that correct?
That's correct.
And when were we notified about this?
When were you notified?
When were we notified as a district about the possibility of the increase? Because it's after October 1st, we're just now hearing about this.
Correct. Do we have an email from the insurance carrier when they notified they were gonna raise our rates originally from our current provider that we're proposing to switch off of?
November 6th is when we received the
So
receipt.
we were notified after the date when the increase was taken, and if we changed, we would pay a 10% penalty.
I believe even with the 10% penalty, our new quote that we got from our provider is still gonna save the district money.
Is there a way we can say, you told us after the fact, this would probably be more than that question, therefore we shouldn't be subject to that penalty?
I'd like to ask them.
Does it hurt?
Yeah.
So the motion is second, do we,
Are we still discussing?
That's all I have to say.
Any other discussions?
The county risk management trust, is this something brand new? Do we have to join something? How does that work? Is it just another provider that we're free to participate with? Is there a membership due? Membership dues?
There's nothing in the proposal that said there's a membership fee.
All right, any other discussions? Hearing none, roll call please.
Stein,
Yay.
Newman, Newton,
Yes.
Solosky, yes, Hurtado,
Yes.
motion carries.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve resolution 2013-17? It's a resolution authorizing an advisory question on the dog park use to be placed on the ballot for the next election.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'm second.
Discussions.
I have a question, it's probably more from that question. If we wanted to change our dog park use policy, would we even have to put it on the ballot? Can't we just change our policy without having to go through this part of it?
yeah, you could.
So I guess then my question would be to staff, why would you want to go this route rather than just amending it?
Reaching out to the residents is important on an issue like this. We've had some staff discussions, Cameron and I, about our current auditors that we have, whether or not we, should implement a permitting fee, such as, I believe, the Forest Reserve has a permitting fee or not. And we had mixed emotions about it. The enforcement's gonna obviously be a question. It's in the honor system. Would we have to outsource some sort of private security or have a different amendment to our general agreement with the police department to enforce this? And I spoke with the board president, and when we came to the conclusion, we felt that we should let the residents tell us what they think. Now, it's not binding, so if the residents do overwhelmingly vote one way, it's still up to the board, actually, if we decide to go forward with it. But it's a way that we can actually reach out to the residents without spending $20,000-$30,000 on a expensive mailer or survey and asking them what they think about the issue.
We can do that by soliciting comments on the website as well. It doesn't cost us anything
This will reach more people, Commissioner.
necessarily.
If we count the hits on the website versus the.
If people know that it's there and they choose to participate in the survey versus the number of people who come out for election in the spring,
You're entitled to your opinion.
well, I'm expressing my opinion.
I think either way, like I said, just getting feedback from the public one way or another through elections or through the regulations ourselves, our site.
Well,
So we need to get that out, like I said, word out, which one we get word out to.
I actually always thought we should have some sort of permit process so people that perhaps don't get their dogs shots bring them into our facilities. I always thought it necessarily didn't have to be a fee, but we could implement a fee where people at least prove their dogs are up to date on shots. That being said, I'm okay with us going forward with something like that, and I think, like Larry said, voter turnout is traditionally so low. It's not really gonna reach most of our residents like we would hope.
It was a good feedback regardless, so.
So the
Do both.
internet,
Excuse me, ma'am, next time.
internet would be a good way to
You can
also
ask.
gauge what
Excuse me?
people think,
You can ask.
because
Could you please, leave the room, please?
No.
Excuse me. Okay, just drop in the mirror.
Baby doll, will take over my board. Thank you.
that's in place, and we could design something similar to what they do. And
Forest
tailor it,
preserve?
yes, and tailor it to our specific needs. I'm just saying it doesn't have to go to this extent, but I'm just, that's all, I was just trying to.
The idea is, this is like a free survey that we can do, and even though it's a low turnout, but at least we have more feedback from the number that people will go to our website, especially the people that don't have internet access or doesn't have, they can go to our website.
Can I say?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't cost us, it's not gonna cost us anything. Do it on both places. Then we can as long as we can reach out to as many people as possible, and it doesn't cost us any charge, I'm all for it.
Yeah, we can do both, we should be able to compare. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Sounds great.
Yeah. Any other discussions? No? All right, roll call, please.
Steines?
Yeah.
Ludeman?
Yes.
Newton?
No.
Solosky?
Yes.
Hurtado?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item R, we have a motion to approve resolution 2013-18, resolution authorizing advisory question on the term limits for the park board members to be placed in the ballot. We have a motion.
Yes, you did motion.
And a second. We have a second.
Second.
Sorry.
Discussions?
I actually have kind of a concern, if you will, based on the Park District code. There's nothing in there that calls for term limits. I was told today that it could potentially be unconstitutional. In our code, it says that commissioners shall serve until their successors are elected and qualified, which means, like Mrs. Kelly stated, it's up to the voters to determine the term limits of the representatives of the board. And I always personally feel term limits are unnecessary when you have someone like Commissioner Wilson that's doing such a fantastic job. I don't agree that after 12 years, you can say, you can't come back. If he wants to come back and the public's happy with him, on election day, they have that opportunity to say he's done or not. So that's my point. And it's section 2-12, terms, time of election.
As far as term limit goes, as a general rule, what you're saying, Commissioners, are correct. You know, if the power's not given in an enabling statute like the Park District Code, then you can't do it. It's not clear whether or not that falls within that, because the board just by resolution has the ability to change terms. They can go from a 6 to a 4, and that's just by resolution. So whether or not you can or can't, I don't know.
Any other discussions?
I'm just curious where the idea came from.
Well, the idea came from this, I believe in term limits myself. And I think is we should have term limits for everybody. Every level of government. And I think that's one of the problems we have is we don't have term limits. I'm not saying about the Park District, but you know, if you look at the overall picture of our state, that's one of the biggest issues is term limits. You know, you have people that have been there for so long, and Commissioner Wilson, great guy. But, and the other different levels, and I think it's something, it's more that we should embrace term limits. I'm sure there's a lot of people in the audience that don't want to see me coming back for another 5-year terms, and I'm sure that's a fact. So, that's why I think it is the term limit is a good idea. We should set a standard.
First thing, setting standards for us, keeping the community fresh without new ideas, and like I said, proceeding on, not getting stale in the community in regards to development. It's always nice to have new, fresh ideas, fresh blood to come in. And like I said, if you block it with a person that's been there for so many years, how many new ideas, fresh ideas is the person going to come up with? It's, like I said, the person gets older and so with my experience in regards to traveling the world and seeing people in regards, they run out of ideas. So, and sometimes, like I said, it takes a fresh person, a fresh blood, to kick it back in gear in regards to sparking the community with a new, fresh direction. So, if you're going to sit there stalemated, when a person, that's, looks good, talks nice, it goes along with everybody, that's not actually effectively helping the community itself to succeed or advance for the future.
Except that that's the public's decision. We derive the power to be commissioners from the public, and we're limiting choice if we put term limits on any commissioner from this point forward.
Well, like I said, if you can't accomplish things in 2 terms, how long do you think it's going to take?
Well, that's up to the public to decide.
Because my feeling is you're
Well, there's an
silencing,
issue in regards to,
Okay, one at a time, please.
I'm sorry.
you're silencing the voice of the voters again. That's how I see it. If they really are happy with the commissioner and that commissioner wants to continue to serve, and you say, no, you're done because it's been 12 years, that gives the voters, that doesn't give them the option to say, yes, we want this person. It's just, to me, it's not how our system's supposed to work. I feel when a voter goes into the ballot box and picks who they want, that's their endorsement of, yes, this person's doing a good job, or no, I don't want this person, I'll vote for someone else. And to me, that's term limits right there. It gives all the voice to the community where it belongs.
So question. Obviously, there are offices, political offices, where there are term limits. Who decided that there were term limits? How does this come from? I mean, one thing I have to say, I respect what Michelle Kelly said about all that she had learned from John Wilson. I really do. But one of the things and if everybody went off the board at the same time, that could be a nightmare. Because the people that have been here have experience over time and so forth and so on and everything. But it's set up so that it's 2 every 2 years, so that there's not this giant break in it. So the question is, you say, well, we derive it from the people, but how do the people make the decision on the term limits? How is this done? Matt, perhaps you have some input on this, because we have to get the okay from the people for term limits, but how do people decide on term limits? So how do they put it? Does it get put on a ballot somewhere? What goes on? How does it go about?
I guess it depends on the entity which you're talking about.
We're talking about, in this instance, we're talking about the park district.
We're talking about the park district again, like I said before, I don't know if we have the ability to get there or not. Well, it's something we'll have to take a look at. I mean, the concept is, this is an advisory referendum to see whether or not there's any interest. If there's interest in it, then I think you take a look at it. If
So
it's
could
not,
we-
then you don't.
Could we table this and have Matt look into this for us?
Well,
Because I would like to have more information on this.
In this case, sure, we're making a motion to put this on the ballot and let the people make a decision, as everyone was saying, right here, we're saying that the people decide, let the people decide.
Well, it's just like, and again, just so we're clear, these are advisory referenda, just like the dog park issue, and then we have another one about the indoor rec facility. I mean, I think the concept is to gauge public position on a certain issue. And that's the concept of the advisory referendum.
Well, I'm all for that.
Well, that's really all this, that's all it is today. You know,
This is-
whether or not, I'm sorry, Mr. Commissioner, but I was just gonna say, whether or not the board decides to do something, if the board decides to take action, that's something else on the road. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm sorry.
But this is only half the point, because one half of the point is term limits, the other half is recall. We're not being considered, a recall question on the advisory referendum either. So I'm all for public input, and I think that recall would be as valuable as term limits, if that's the case.
Let the people speak.
Any other discussions? Hearing none, roll call please.
Stein?
Yeah.
Ludeman? Newton?
No?
Solosky?
Yes.
Hurtado?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item S, we have motion to approve resolution 2013, resolution authorizing an advisory question on the construction of indoor recreation facility to be placed on the ballot. Do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Have a second? Discussion.
The way the thing is written, should the Plainfield Township Park District investigate the purchase or construction of an indoor recreational facility? Why do we need a referendum to investigate something we do all the time?
Again, we want back to the survey. Basically, this is a free survey that we can engage the people
But
that really wants.
the response will be yes or no. The response won't be how much is it gonna cost and do I really
Well,
want
and
it or
then
not?
we will.
Well, that's what we need to be asking.
Well, first, I think we need to find out what the people
I
really
think,
want.
I think everybody here wants an indoor facility. Do they wanna pay for it? That's a totally different question.
Right, that's the second step, the next. So, any other discussions?
I think it's a little misleading, kind of in the same direction of Larry. I mean, in a perfect world, sure, we want this, but by not telling people it would require a referendum or a tax increase.
Well, I think eventually we have to tell them, if, it's hard to come up to a referendum because we can't do it just like that.
So I kind of think it might be a little misleading to the people that vote, they think, oh, they're gonna do this if we all vote yes, and then they're gonna expect it.
Could it be questioned differently so that, in other words, including this may
So,
require a tax increase, or put it in that
Right.
context?
Because that would be the only
So
way. we
that
could.
it wasn't just a one-sided, can we do that?
You can phrase it any way you want to phrase it.
Phrase it so that within the
So
context, so
you
people
can-
understand that there could be a tax increase to cover it. Would you be willing to go with that?
Yes, I just want to make sure it's not misleading.
I don't think it's misleading at all, it's regards to question, you want to have us to look into the matters of processing, construction of a real facility for the future.
I
So
think,
it's, it's black and white right there.
I think that the whole thing was to find out how we really want it, and then we can create a plan and come up with an estimate of how much it's going to cost, and then we can come back and say, we're hearing what you said, this is what it's going to cost, and you're willing to pay for it. But, we can't just come up with a plan, spend all the thousands of dollars to come up with a plan when we know that people are alive. You know what I mean? So that's what the whole thing,
We're looking
it's
for
just
value.
another survey from the people. And that's,
We'll get Mary to be in charge of the wording.